Oh, is it? Okay.
It's an idea of Grave To Cradle. Most of you may know the book called Cradle to Cradle. In it, it explains that cradle to grave idea is when things are used to run away when you are done with them. In my process, I researched the idea of Grave To Cradle, where broken, tortured things are rebirthed into new ideas. In the essence of natural disasters, I find them to be very powerful, interesting processes of natural life. Specifically, I find that hurricanes and tornadoes are the most fascinating. The fact that practically anything man-made in the world can be easily destroyed within seconds just seems almost unreal to me. I also like the fact that natural disasters bring people together. The natural process of disaster in itself is a very emotional, moving process to rebuild any communities that were destroyed. People lose family members, husbands, wives, friends, and things that were important to them. This photo represents a lot of different things to me. It is an old building that is all beat up, torn down, and broken. In a way, it is completely deserted and abandoned, just like the grain terminal in Red Hook, Brooklyn is. This picture depicts the building in a time before a hurricane hit this particular place in New Orleans. Once the hurricane overtook this building, it left it in complete ruins. The hurricane that hit it could be a metaphor for the people of Red Hook who basically just let the building be torn down and broken by ignoring its current remains. The hurricane did the job for the people by completely breaking down the building in its entirety. Another extremely interesting aspect about hurricanes and tornadoes is that they hold a circular path. In the sides of this photo, the dark spot in the middle is known as the eye, and the storm itself rotates around its fixed central spot. Particularly in hurricanes, I think it's really fascinating that there is an eye to the storm, where a calmness and peaceful surrounding is set in place. It is where, although it still appears to be a storm at hand, winds die down, water still, and everything becomes peaceful. In addition to that, there is an eye wall that almost serves as a protecting jacket around the calmness inside the eye. Once you leave the eye wall, there are multiple rain bands that circulate around the eye. The calm of the storm drove me to think about certain circulation methods that could be placed towards my design. This photo shows me a type of metaphor about the eye of the storm. As you can see, the pathway that runs through the rubble left over from the storm, it maintains a calmness despite the chaotic surroundings. In 2007, one of the strongest tornadoes to ever strike New York City was in Brooklyn. On record, it was only the sixth tornado in the New York City area since 1974. I found it really interesting that the picture because it reminded me of IKEA, which is located right near the grain terminal. Also, it is highly unusual for a tornado to reach the northeastern area of the United States. Typically, most tornadoes are located in the south and midwestern regions. Natural disasters brought me to the research of 4 elements, including water, fire, wind, and earth. In relation to natural disasters, I categorize particular disasters with an element, such as water with hurricanes, fire with volcanoes, wind with tornadoes, and earth with earthquakes. The interesting thing about the 4 elements is that they can either be very beneficial to life or very destructive to life. In my Grave To Cradle idea, I found the most expressive way of relaying my message is through the use of the bird, the phoenix, or also known as the firebird. What's most interesting about the firebird is that it dies by burning on fire, and then from the ashes, it is reborn again. While doing research on the phoenix, I came across different ancient civilizations that used the firebird in their beliefs. In these diagrams, it shows how each of the 4 different phoenixes are related with each other. This went with both the expressive circulation methods I kept in mind with my design. With the phoenix and the 4 elements, I decided to make model templates of the grain terminal. I made 10 of the same template to be exact. And with each model, I lit them all on fire in order to find the circulation, creation, and actual design of my new model. My intent is actually to use the leftover pieces in order to create the new building. This photo represents the process of burning one of the template models. I found this interesting because in this model, at least, it has a very linear approach to a much larger volume. In this model, I find it very interesting that the outcome of the burn replicated the circular motion of hurricanes and tornadoes. In a very informal sense, it can be related back to the eye of the storm that is shown in radar clippings. This represents the final remains of one of the template models. The ashes ended up replicating a diagrammatical form. Earlier in my process, I created diagrams based over the Phoenix's history, and this, which was not planned at all, replicates. These show some results from the burning process. To the left is a template of just exterior walls, and to the right has interiors intact. The three in the middle are just the ending results after being burnt on fire. I produced a model that was made purely based on the results of my burning model experiments. Each facade replicates the way particular walls withstood the fire. On the front elevation, the broken glass actually replicates the form of how one of the fires was photographed. Broken glass reminded me of post-destruction of any disaster, so I felt it was very necessary. The interior of my museum, I wanted to be able to show people how natural disasters affect human existence. In the middle of the model is a type of virtual reenactment of how a natural disaster would affect natural life. Currently, it is in the form of a tornado created through the ashes of the burned models. It has been said that I wish to begin on some other being said. That being said, I believe I have a little journey before I have a solid idea of how exterior and interior dwellings are going to be represented in my ideas. In the next few pages of my calendar, I hope to further explore all of these things and bring them all together into one. It is extremely far from being a final representation of my idea or design. And this concludes the Grave To Cradle process.
All right, so that represents the first group. Thank you, guys. So let's